Application Example 7. Manual operation via one-button operation. This learning module shows how you can still reliably raise and lower the sunshade with a single button. It has explained which conditions have to be observed and how the coupling between actuator channel and push button has to be designed. Initial situation. Perhaps you have already encountered this situation before. An already installed push-button sensor with rocker operation for solar protection, that means one button for shutting down and a second button for raising, is to be used for a further solar protection function. Limiting condition. It is not possible to install a push button with more rockers at the same position. Now remember that instead of 2 buttons, it is also possible to set to a one-button operation, and thus turning one operation function into 2. First, we must change the parameters of our button. Here, we change the default setting button pair to single buttons. Then we select one-button solar protection control as the function. This results in the same objects as with the rocker function. Then, connect them as usual with the 2 group addresses. But is that all? If we take a closer look, there's a small difference. The Venetian blind up-down object has a set right flag in one-button operation. This means that it has a similar function to the one-button switching function, if the connected actuator channel is still controlled from another side. This can also be communicated to the push-button switching object via the status feedback. But which status can be considered for the solar protection actuator? The point here is that the next time the push button is pressed for a long time, the sunshade should move in the opposite direction to the one last controlled. Until now, solar protection actuators only had end position and position status messages. Neither is suitable for communicating something useful to such an object. So what would be a sensible feedback in this context? Well, it should be the status of the last direction of motion. The N543 can provide you with the status message you need. We just return to the page Functions, Objects. In the lower area are the status messages. Choose Status Move Up, Down. When we enable it, and also the Send on Status Change, the actuator channel can now update the push button, even if it was moved via an 8-bit value telegram or a 4-bit control telegram. The following applies generally to the Move Up, Down status object. It synchronizes itself with every movement command, regardless of whether manual or automatic, and regardless of whether 1-bit, 4-bit, or 8-bit. With step commands, on the other hand, this object is not updated. At the end of this e-learning module, we connect the group address blind M2 move status with the blind up-down object of the push button. Now, the push button will always send the correct telegrams even in one-button configuration. We have now reached the end of this module, Manual Operation via One-Button Operation. You are now in a position to correctly parameterize and link a one-button operating function with the N543. Thanks for watching. The next application example is the override function range limitation. See you there.